Ever wonder what the playbook for a real estate giant really looks like? Well, today, we're cracking open Oberoi Realty's latest earnings call to decode the strategy that's putting them right at the top of the luxury market. Let's get into it.
We're going to go way beyond just the numbers on a spreadsheet. We're looking at what really makes them tick. The confidence, the mindset, and the frankly brilliant control that defines how they build and sell some of India's most exclusive properties.
And that confidence, it comes straight from the top. The company's chairman, Vikas Oberoi, set the tone by talking about a robust sustenance sale. That's just a fancy way of saying sales are steady and strong across the board. The bottom line is, demand is high and things are off to a flying start.
So, what's behind all this momentum? It's not just the holiday season. It's actually a very specific market trend that Oberoi seems perfectly positioned to ride.
And here's the key. People aren't just looking for any apartment. They are actively hunting for high-end, luxury homes built by developers who have a rock-solid reputation for quality. And in that specific space, well, Oberoi is absolutely crushing it.
Okay, so how does this strategy actually look in the real world, with concrete and steel? Well, that brings us to their star projects. Their success isn't just talk. It's anchored in a few key, high-performing properties.
These are the heavy hitters right now. You've got the huge residential projects like Sky City and 360 West, and then their commercial powerhouses like the Sky City Mall. Each one of these tells a piece of the Oberoi story.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. At their Sky City project, they actually raised prices, and sales kept going strong. Now that is not something you see every day, so it really makes you wonder, what's the secret sauce with this project?
And this is where you see their strategy in action. See, Sky City isn't just a bunch of apartments. It's a whole ecosystem. It's built right on top of a mall and has its own direct connection to the metro. That kind of integration creates massive value. In fact, Oberoi says they're not even leading the price hikes. They're just following the high prices that current owners are already getting on the resale market.
And this idea of creating unique value goes all the way to the top of the market. Let's talk about the absolute pinnacle, their landmark project, 360 West. For these incredible, multi-million-dollar apartments, they have a very clear plan. They expect to sell every last one within the next 2 years.
And here's the masterstroke behind that confidence. They've looked at the market and they see a huge gap. They believe for the next 3 years, no other developer is going to be able to deliver a comparable, ready-to-move-in luxury building in that area. That gives them, in their own words, a clean run at the entire top-tier market.
But they are not resting on their laurels, not even close. They're actually doubling down, aiming for a future that they're calling uber luxury. They're planning something even bigger and more ambitious.
This is the big question, right? What does that next wave of Oberoi projects even look like?
And the pipeline is just massive. We're talking about a major expansion into Gurugram, another huge residential project in Adarsh Nagar, and they're about to finish the super-hyped Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Mumbai, plus another gigantic mixed-use development. And what's really telling is their mindset. They look at 360 West, which is arguably one of the best buildings in the country, and see it as a baseline to be beaten. The CEO actually said that with what they know now, they can build far superior products. That is an incredibly bold statement. And just to give you a sense of the scale here, let's take just one of those projects, the new Ritz-Carlton Hotel. It's going to have over 200 rooms, massive event spaces, all the top-tier amenities. They're not just building another hotel. They're creating what they call a global product from a... Okay, so we've seen what they're building. But what's just as important is how they're selling it. This is where we get into the art of selling. Because Oberoi has a strategy that's, well, it's unconventional, but it's incredibly effective.
Now, to get this next part, you have to understand a rule called RERA. All it means is that when a developer sells an apartment, the money has to go into a special bank account that can only be used to fund the construction of that specific project. Remember that. It's the key to everything.
So here's how they use RERA to their advantage. It's a 4-step process. 1, they sell just enough apartments at the launch to get all the money they need for the entire construction. 2, once the project is fully funded, they hit the brakes. They literally slow down or even stop selling. 3, they hold on to the rest of their apartments like a stock that's going up in value. And 4, as the building gets finished and hype grows, they jump back into the market, but at a much, much higher price. This quote from the CEO says it all. Why would he rush to sell an apartment when by simply waiting, he sees a potential 20% return?
It's a brilliant strategy of patience and total control that just maximizes their profit.
So, when you combine that powerful sales strategy with a portfolio of star projects, you have to ask, what's next? Well, the immediate future can be summed up in one word: launches.
And they are not being shy about it. Their own words to describe their launch pipeline are queued up and raring to go. That sounds like a company that's ready to hit the accelerator.
And this isn't just one or two things. We're talking major new launches in Gurugram and Worli, brand new towers in their strongholds like Bor Valley, Thane, and Goregaon, and on top of all that, a whole slate of redevelopment projects. The scale is just immense. Which really brings us to the final question. You've got a market that is hungry for exactly what they sell, a finely tuned strategy of control, and a massive pipeline of new projects ready to go. So you have to wonder, just how high can Oberoi Realty possibly climb?